Hi, I'm Danny. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to put some electrical tools to the test. These are from a company called FNIRSI. If you haven't heard of that company, they make oscilloscopes, so they know a little bit about electrical. So this meter is the fully functioning digital multimeter, and it has an oscilloscope and a signal generator. The other tool is the amp clamp, and I'm really excited about the amp clamp today. I've been playing around with it and it works excellent. The other tool I have is a battery tester, and we're going to put that to the test. It's not only going to test your battery, but it's going to test your electrical system. Let's get started. The first thing that I need to check is my battery. I need to know if I have enough voltage in this battery to run my test. If I don't have enough voltage, I'm going to get false readings. I can do this with my amp clamp. This is also a fully functioning multimeter. I'm just going to do a quick voltage check, but don't worry. Later on in this video, I'll do a complete battery test, including a parasitic draw test, and I'll check the current output on the alternator. To use the amp clamp to check the battery, right now it's on amps. You can see it here. I just need to go over one. Now we're on volts. Take my meter leads. I'm going to put one in the positive, one in the common. Take my meter leads. One goes on positive and the other one here. So I've got 12.34 volts. So that's enough to check the starter. So to check the starter draw, you need to put the clamp over the wire that goes down to the starter. So I opened this up with a razor blade, and as you can see right here, the black wire that was in there, that's going to come over to the ground side. This white wire here that comes off the positive side, that's going into the fuse box. And then this one is going to go down to the starter, and that's what I need to clamp this around. So we're going to do that right here. I'm going to reset everything by pushing the power button one time, and I'm going to go crank the engine. So it looks like the highest reading was 107 amps. Now I want to do this again with the fuel not disabled. I'll also show you while I'm in there how I disabled the fuel on a 2007 Honda Element. So behind the glove box, there's a relay, and it goes right here. I'm going to go ahead and put the relay back in. So this controls the fuel pump. And now we should be able to start again. So I'm going to go ahead and reset it again. It's back to 0. I'm going to start it. That was about 96 amps, about a 10 amp difference. So just be aware of that. Normal is 120 to 200 amps. If you had higher amps and slow cranking, that would be a starter motor. If you had lower amps and slow cranking, that could be a cable, but most likely a battery. So I went ahead and switched my meter leads out because these are much easier to use. I love these things. I'll put them in a link in the description below. Now I'm going to check the condition of the battery. I'm going to do it with the battery tester and a multimeter. So I'm going to do it all at once. So I've got the battery tester hooked up, and these are the cables for that. And then I have the amp clamp and the meter hooked up. And so both the power cables go to the positive side of the battery, and the negative cables go to the negative side. And they're all independent, so I should get correct readings. I just want to see if everything's accurate and the same readings. All right, so everything's hooked up, ready to go. I've got my battery tester, I've got the multimeter, and then I've got the amp clamp here. I've got min-max set up here, and then also here. But there's some issues with the min-max on voltage mode on the amp clamp. So let's go ahead and just say, do our test. So voltage is a 12 volt battery. And then we want to go to cold cranking amps. And then we'll go down here and we'll punch in what our cold cranking amps are. And I've already got it to 500. If you need to know where the cold cranking amps are, they're usually on the battery. And if you look right there, it says 500 cold cranking amps. So now that we got all that done, I can just say okay, and it's going to run my test. So this says 12.31 volts, 446 cold cranking amps, and my battery is about 50%. And then this also says 12.3 volts, and this one says 12.26 volts. So I'm going to unhook this and we're going to go to do our next test. So all this was pretty good. Okay, now we're going to rehook it. And now I'm going to go over one. And now we're at start. So I'm going to push OK. So this is going to be the start test. So it's reading 12.31 volts. And I believe this means I should see more than 10.2 volts on the starter. So this is going to catch it here with the min-max. The amp clamp here isn't going to catch it. I'm pretty sure because it doesn't seem to work on voltage mode. But let's go start the vehicle and let's see what happens. As I crank the engine, it's going to put a load on the battery, and that battery cannot drop below 9.6 volts. If it does, I most likely need a battery. All right, so we're going to take a look at our readings. So when I started it, the battery went down to 10.21 volts on the battery tester. It went down to 10.6 volts. This meter didn't even read it. I'm going to just do that whole test again and we'll see what it looked like. So we're going to go over one here and we're going to say okay. And then 12.29, 12.29, and 12.24. So let's go ahead and start it and see what it looks like this time. So on this one, 10.2 with minimum voltage and 10.32 minimum voltage. This one couldn't read the min-max. Now I did find a few issues with the meter, the DS210. So this should be reading 12.34 and 12.34 because there is no minimum right now because it's hooked to the battery. But if you wait about 30 seconds, it actually resets by itself. But there's no way other than turning it to a different selection and turning it back to reset it. Now if I wait just a second, there it went. So now it's minimum and maximum. But when I do start it, I will see that catch the minimum voltage. So it does work. There's just no reset button on this that I found. If you know where it is, put it in the comments. The issue I found with the amp clamp in voltage DC mode, there's no way to reset min-max. If you know how to do it, put that in the comments below. With that being said, this is a great little amp meter. Now we're going to check the current output of the alternator. So I switched over to the Honda Civic because the alternator is so much easier to see. You want to find the fat wire that goes down to your alternator, and you want to take your amp clamp and you want to slide it right over that wire. And then this one's easy to zero out, the min-max. So you just push the on-off button like a quick press. Now I'm going to start the car. I'm going to turn on the blower fan with the AC. I'm going to turn on the headlights. I'm going to shut the AC off. And I'm going to turn off the headlights. Next, I'm going to show you how to use the amp clamp to do a quick parasitic draw test. So normally a meter that goes up to 600 amps is horrible at reading the lower amperage readings. This one nailed it. You want to take your amp meter, you want to make sure it's on amps DC. Go ahead and zero it out. Put it over your negative cable. And this is going to be your current draw. You can also check parasitic draw with a meter. This is the DST 210. It's actually more accurate, and I usually prefer checking my parasitic draws this way. I have a few videos on my YouTube channel on doing parasitic draw tests. I'll put links to those videos in the description. My favorite tool is definitely going to be the amp clamp. And by the way, I'll put links to all the tools that I talked about today in the description below. This will do anything from a parasitic draw all the way up to a starter draw. And not just on a 4-cylinder, it'll do it on a diesel truck. It'll go up to 600 amps. The meter leads, they were okay. I would prefer you go ahead and pick up some of these meter leads. I'll put links in the description. So these work two ways. So you can just probe something, or you can use the alligator clips. So I love these things, and they'll work with that meter. These ones, I mean, you don't have an alligator clip, basically, is the difference. But they work good, they're fine. I would just prefer to use alligator clips. It just makes the job a whole lot better. It also comes with a nice case, so you can put this in the case, and a temperature probe. So it actually reads temperature too. So this was a nice meter. I did find one flaw. So the min-max, it will not reset in DC voltage mode. This is the FNIRSI DST210. It's a full function multimeter. I demonstrated today the min-max feature. I also demonstrated how you can read current through the meter. It also has an oscilloscope, and it has a signal generator. If you would like me to do a demonstration of that in a future video, throw that in the comments. This was a very nice meter, and it worked very well. This is the FNIRSI BTM24. It's a battery tester. Today I showed you how this battery tester tests your battery. I also showed you how the starter load tests the battery. I hope you got something out of today's video. I thought these electrical tools were professional grade, and they're not going to break the bank. This was $70, $60, and $40. So it's great for the do-it-yourselfer. I'll put links to all these in the description below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.